Al, Ryder.
Anand,
Al, Ryder.
Anand.
Let's move on to the next thing. I was gonna tell you a funny story about Val Kilmer in the bathroom. I'm actually gonna skip that. But
Val Kilmer was there though.
Val Kilmer was there.
It's weird to see.
All right, we're getting to Val Kilmer because it's kind of funny. So I'm looking in the corner, sitting on a couch. In the corner over there is this. I'm like, oh man, it's so funny, man. That fat dude looks like Val Kilmer. And I'm like, but in my head, I'm like, well, why the fuck would Val Kilmer be here, right?
Be at the pre-telecast.
Exactly. Like, why? Like, what? For the free food? Like, I'm thinking, like, why the fuck would Val Kilmer be here? I'm like, that must be some fucking
right. The free food. You're so mean, dude.
It must be.
You start to see the Americans tearing down our royalty.
Dude, you got it. Well,
I love Tombstone, man.
Well, I would have said great things about Val Kilmer.
Yeah, if he wasn't a dick.
If he wasn't a dick. Like I always do about Weird Al. Weird Al, every time I see him, is the coolest man ever. And every time I see him, he elevates his coolness on how he's just a good human being.
He's a genuine person. Which is weird.
If I could be half the human being Weird Al is, I would be very happy with myself. Like I aspire to try to have that level of character. Like he's just fucking great, right? So Weird Al's awesome, and then 5 minutes later I'm looking at this fat Val Kilmer, right? and I'm like, there's no way that's Val Kilmer on it. I mean, in my head I'm talking to myself, I'm like, that's funny on it. That guy looks like Val Kilmer. That's probably just some fucking rocker that I don't know, right? Some old man rocker. So whatever, we go in there, we see Val Kilmer getting announced as a nominee for an award. I'm like, holy shit, that dude was Val Kilmer. So I'm walking around and he's coming back out. And I come up to him and I'm like, that's Val Kilmer. My sister was in love with him in the 80s. I'm like, I gotta shake Val Kilmer's hand, right? And let me get a promo shot with him for something, right? Because it's Val fucking Kilmer. And you know what? He's in our world. He should be goddamn excited to be, actually say hello to musicians. And you're not, shit, dude. Like,
he was there to
you're
win.
A visitor.
He was there to win.
He's still a fucking visitor. He's still an actor.
His ego's the size of his belly. He definitely was there. He was there to win. Was it spoken word or comedy album?
I didn't even fucking. I think it was comedy, right? No.
It was either spoken word or something.
Children's. It might have been children's album.
Possible, but anyway,
how
he did some
how he leads.
Spoken
It's
word
probably
album.
some kids' album. How he leads kids into the woods and sticks them in an oven in a gingerbread house and eats them. It's like every children's story. So anyway, I shake his hand, I talk to him, and he seems to be in a real hurry. He didn't look me in the eye. It was very weird, right? And he's talking about going to the bathroom. And I'm like, all right, dude, you gotta go to the bathroom. I have to pee too at this. I'm like, and I didn't even go to the same bathroom as him. I'm like, I'm not, after this fucking interaction, like, I am not gonna be in the same bathroom.
Let's say he was just rude.
Right? And I'm like, and I don't want him to turn around and be like, why are you following me in the bathroom? And I'd be like, dude, like, you're gross, dude. Like, right now. And really, I was compelled to wash my hand after shaking Val Kilmer's hand. Anyways, that was an aside I actually really didn't want to get into because I'm sure everyone's like, why don't you fucking assholes fucking start talking about the actual Grammy show? But maybe you're not, because if you're smart, you're listening to this shit on Spotify and you just didn't click on the tracks that have nothing to do with the show. So, anyways, I'm all pro Spotify. I hope they're still in fucking business like a year from now.
Yeah, right.
Before they and keep in mind, Spotify's cool. Like, we get shit royalties for Spotify. They just cannot afford to pay us. But I love the fact that everyone can actually fucking listen to it and interact and share and talk about it, and it just means that much more than the fucking 40 cents we would have made at somebody listening. So like, it literally is that much more. All right, so luckily we're smart and we made a list. So I'm gonna read this off show points. It will not be in order of the show this year because it's just not gonna happen. So, Beach Boys, 25 people on stage. Go!
Oh, Pat, Beach Boys.
Holy shit!
So, going into this, there was, anytime you go to see music in a format that has a lot of artists, you're always excited to see those artists you never had a chance to see, and you've seen them for the first time. Because it's like, there's a bucket list of musicians and everything everybody should have. If you're a music lover, you have like the Aretha Franklin, you have, God rest his soul, James Browns of the world, right? Where it's like, man, there's these talents that have been around for decades, and you like to be able to see them at least once to say that, hey, you set eyes upon them, you have to hear them make their music. Because, man, music's timeless, it's immortal, it'll last forever, right? And so Beach Boys is one of those groups, and I've heard that, the main lead singer, I think his last name's Wilson, I'm no disrespect, I just don't know all the members of the Beach Boys, and his voice has been crapped out for a long time. So as in true Grammy fashion, they try to get, collaborations to get, more artists publicity up there on stage. So they did a Foster the People, Maroon 5.
Right.
And the Beach Boys all performed. kind of the medley Beach Boys songs. And, you know, man, dude, Maroon 5 and Foster People did a bang-up job.
Just awesome.
You know, and I know,
awesome.
and I realize that Pumped Up Kick song, if there was a song that defined indie rock music in 2011, it was Pumped Up Kick song. And sounds like
that one ate the Billboard charts alive.
Yeah, and it's great. And I listened to the whole rest of the album. I wasn't that impressed, but man, they nailed it. I mean, the guy's voice is really unique.
Really good. I had never seen them live before, and Maroon 5 was cool. And I'm a bit of a Maroon 5 fan.
Everybody's mom loves the lead singer.
Oh my god, my mom is texting me all night. I'm like, can you please get Bruno Mars Maroon 5's autograph?
Yes.
Bruno Mars Maroon 5, Bruno Mars.
So there's definitely a hunk factor apparently for Maroon 5, and then, you know, any guy can play keyboard and run around saying it's great. So,
but they nailed a Beach Boys song, and you know what? I'm already up front and honest, and you guys, if you guys know me and listen to my rants, I really don't like music that was made before 1975. I just don't, right? Like I just don't like it, and so I was very afraid I was gonna fall asleep at the Grammys, like because that lineup, they're like Paul McCartney, Bruce
Springsteen.
I actually dig Bruce Springsteen.
Okay.
So Paul McCartney, and Beach Boys. That's all I needed to hear to be like, this is going to suck, right? I'm like, I did not think I'd be able to sit through listening to that beach music, right? Like, I did not think I'd be able to sit and listen to that nonsense, right? It makes me think of rainbows and Skittles and like people doing the twist on the beach, and it's just like,
and the set kind of looked like rainbows and Skittles.
Yeah, it's just shit I don't want it going on in my head, right? And but dude, kudos to whoever runs the sound at the Grammys.
Well, first I'll give credit. The performance is awesome. Like,
the performance kick-ass.
The Beach Boys sounded great. There was none of that issue with any of the singing for the Beach Boys, and it was.
They nailed, like, to watch that many people sing together and nail those harmonies, go in and out, and the instruments. I mean, it was musically, from a musician's perspective, whether you like Beach Boys or not.
Yeah.
It was jaw-droppingly floor up, and you're like, wow, you guys are good.
Yeah, they had 25 musicians on stage, so instrumentation and singing, and they blended it together to where it sounded fantastic. It was probably one of the most impressive things. You know, there's lots of, you know, moving these, you know, putting together, assembling these sets really quickly.
Right.
I mean, the production itself. And
you guys don't get to see that on TV, and depending on where you're sitting, you don't even get to see that from the show. But we're lucky. Usually, we get to see all the setup that's going on backstage, which is really
the production
really
makes
awesome.
Cirque du Soleil seem like a circus.
You know, the guy.
Right? I mean, this is the big leagues when it comes to sound, stage, and production. I mean,
there's a Grammy saying it doesn't work on paper.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Exactly.
It doesn't work on paper. Like if you're watching Guardian, like it's not possible for somebody to actually put the show on and actually not have a million things go wrong and nothing ever goes wrong. Like it's just that segment alone of those 25 guys should not have worked.
Yeah, totally.
And it sounded so good.
Yeah, I mean, dude, everybody walked away with a better brand afterwards.
Like that night, they should. By the way, we're giving honorary Grammy awards to whoever runs sound here tonight and whoever's the lighting director here tonight. Yeah. Which I'll get to lighting directors pretty soon and how impressed I am about that nonsense. But since we're talking about baby boomers that I don't like and we're impressed about, Paul McCartney. If you asked me 2 days ago, Anand, what do you think about Paul McCartney? You wouldn't have heard anything good, right? Like I just don't think of Paul McCartney and musicianship in the same sentence. I think of Paul McCartney and vegetarianism, but like I just don't think of him as a musician. He's just he just looks like a little British monkey jumping around. Like everyone hates me for this, but like I just think Beatles is like it's just not music to me. It's just like nonsense. And to me, it sounds like little kids banging on their toy fucking shits, right? It's shit that I listened to and played when I was 5. Like it's bad. Sesame Street music is way more complicated. It's just bad. Anyways, that's my rant. And I can't wait to see the annual emails of what an asshole I am.
Actually, no, let me interject though, really quick. Anybody, how do you defend Paul McCartney since the Beatles? You just can't. So he's so.
But here's my big but. So before you hate me.
There we did.
I apologize for the last few decades of my life. I think I started bashing the Beatles when I was about 9 is when I outgrew them, right? And so, dude, Paul, he says that fucking Valentine jazz standard, right?
Oh, he nailed that,
and with Joe Walsh, who was fucking awesome. Like, and so, dude, like, he nailed it. And I'm saying to myself, and I may have said it out loud and probably pissed off people in front of me, I didn't know Paul McCartney was talented. Like, I'm like, oh my god, like, this guy's good. Like, either Beatles is pop music that I never gave any credit to whatsoever, and I've been a dick for a long time, or he has really grown as a musician. But that Paul McCartney and that Joe Walsh combo was awesome. And now we're confused Al at the end, and we were talking about this.
It's so weird.
Was Paul McCartney was going to do a bunch of Beatles stuff, and I'm like, oh,
well,
no.
First, so he did one song. He did the old Valentine's Day standard, right? He did that. So he did one song, and then he came back. The show ends with a Beatles medley. So what I'm picturing is a Beatles medley, right?
Yeah, I'm picturing, oh my god, this is where I should go to the bathroom. They're going to sing like...
And so I started listening to it, and I really recognized the first song at the big get-go, because the guy kind of has like a hard rock guitar tone.
Dude, it sounded heavy.
Yeah.
The drummer had a double bass pedal.
Yeah, so like they put some balls on these songs, which I just didn't expect.
And the only reason I knew those were Beatles songs is there's an old lady sitting in front of us singing along. And if there's old people, if there's anybody over the age of 50 singing along, it's a Beatles song, right? So...
Yes. So yeah, going back to the guitar duel at the end.
Which was, and I didn't even realize till like the end, till you pointed out, is that Bruce Springsteen?
Well,
like,
yeah,
oh my God, Bruce Springsteen stand.
So when I think of Paul McCartney, you think, behind the piano as kind of a gay singer, a feminine singer, soft, smooth voice. And then I think it was the bass player, right? He played bass.
He was the bass player.
Yeah, so after he starts off behind the piano, and then like I said, there's a guy playing hard, rock guitar and the double bass drums, and so I'm kind of like, it's weird. I don't know what's going on. And all of a sudden, there's like 6 guitar players. He grabs a guitar, left-handed player that he is.
Was it guitar or was it bass?
Well, because they're trading solos. It looked like.
Even Paul McCartney?
I thought it did. I don't really know, man.
There was so much going on.
There were so many people on stage.
You could not figure out.
Well, who was playing what at what time?
In iShot, right? Like those you watch remote were kind of lucky because the camera focuses on one guy. We were a little overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because the Grammys they're like, well, something goes on one side of the stage, something goes on the other, sometimes something goes in the middle. They took up the whole stage.
If you came up to me before the Grammys and said, "Hey, dude, I'll bet you $100." That when Paul McCartney comes out there and does a Beatles medley, we're going to have a guitar duel between 6 guitar players on stage. Because when you think Paul McCartney and the Beatles, you think trading guitar solos.
And no, let's correct this. We're not talking about 1968 gay guitar solos. We're talking some pretty heavy double bass drum. We're talking some nailing it, almost 80s cock rock guitar solos. I mean, it was hard rock.
So
it was classic rock.
It took me a moment. It took me a while to go like, what's going on there? And then it was like, oh, it's David Grohl. And I'm like, oh my god, that's Bruce Springsteen. So it was one of the weirdest ways to end the Grammys, and it ended up being obviously a lot better than we thought.
But it made up for Rhinestone Cowboy and the Alzheimer's dude. But we're not even going to talk about that.
Yeah, no.